Welcome back to Chasing Prophecy on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. I'm Jennie Nicassio, along with a really cool guy, John Ventre, who I've known for a long time, and he's filling in again, which I'm so grateful for. And I just wish he would stay on full time. It'd be great. Hey, John, how you doing?
Good, pretty good. Good.
Good. Good. We have a really cool show tonight. And I know you guys are all awesome, and I just want to let you know if you could do that for me, share the link. I'd really appreciate it. Get as many people as we can into the chat. And usually in the very beginning, there's no one here because I don't know what it is with StreamYards or YouTube. They don't notify people right away. So we're just going to hang tight for just a little bit. And if you could share the link, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, it's October 2nd already. Can you believe it?
I know. When's daylight savings? Is that this Sunday?
Oh, I hope not.
Or did I already miss it? Was it last Sunday?
No, I don't think it's till November. But don't quote me on that. I'm not really sure. I'm not really up on. I mean, Trump was supposed to change it, but of course,
I wish
that never
would.
happens. I wish they would just leave it alone the way it is and just let us go. Yeah.
Yeah, leave it and don't have it, just one time and then leave it alone.
Yeah. I'm just going to try to move my camera. Oh, there we go. Okay. See no, that'll probably my I don't understand. Every time I do changes, faces, Pages of Faith, my podcasts, my faith-based one, nothing works. And I think the devil always tries to stop me because unless this is going to work, it's going to start flickering. Because I had it on for when I did my podcast yesterday and it flickered the whole time. I had to turn it off. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So, okay, tonight we're going to, let's just think a little bit about this. Think for a moment. Okay, John, what if somewhere right now, a doorway is opening? Okay, not a doorway to a brick and mortar or a house or wood or, that kind of doorway, but a crack in the very fabric of our reality. What would you say? A vortex, like a bridge?
I would say I believe that because, I made this like semicircle with UFOs that they were from space and then interdimensional. And I do think, I don't know how interdimensional works, but I think it's this that you're describing, that there's something happens and they're able to move into our physical realm, and I've mentioned a few times on your show and other podcasts I do. In 2005, when I woke up 5 a.m, just woke up suddenly, there's somebody standing down the hall. And he was backlit, and I'm saying to myself, it's almost as though he was going to go into that portal. It was time, like Sliders. You remember that show? They press the button and then the thing opens and you got to go through it. I absolutely believe that thing was getting ready to leave and go into its dimension. And I woke up and I wasn't supposed to. And my dog didn't wake up. It was laying in the hall, sound asleep. And I walked past it.
Portable they're called portals. It's a passageway that might have opened up. And that's a lot of people claim that could have been what happened.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. From ancient myth to modern sci-fi, portals have represented the thresholds, moments of transition between the known and the unknown. And it's been forever. I mean, you go back and talk, oh my God, even when I was a kid, a lot of the Twilight shows where, Twilight Zone was about the portals. But what if the portals, aren't just metaphors, but what if they're actually real and they exist and they're like an active agent in our world? Like, I don't know. Sometimes people think that CERN opened up those portals. I don't know, but it seems like, what if it's real? I mean, what if there is an opening between this dimension, like that pulses to another energy field that opens up and there's a it opens and closes, like it's in sync with the forces maybe we don't understand yet, or the forces of nature? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it could. it could be something like that. That's at certain times, maybe once a month, at whatever. At a certain time frame, it opens and you can go through. But I would think if these civilizations are been around a lot longer than we have, look at how quickly we change. Now you got all this AI stuff coming. In 20 years, at the end of our lives, we're not going to believe what this world is going to be like with automation, AI, all this stuff. So
Mhm.
I think, if they're 100 years ahead of us, and they're probably hundreds, if not thousands of years ahead of us, who knows what they could have invented or what the AI could invent for them.
Yeah, it's just like these portals. I mean, it just makes us think about it. Think about it. There's this time that is like transformed, like distance doesn't make any sense anymore. Time bends. And then a lot of people think what actually happens, like what happens when a portal opens. A lot of the witnesses often describe environmental and like things happening, heat shimmers, flashes of light, their sound in their ear sounds different, maybe a sudden localized wind, or they don't hear anything at all. And some people think that there's like this distortion. I don't know if you ever watched Missing 411. The last, I think it was 411 Hunted. At the very end, a woman, her husband was a scientist and a woman was an avid hunter. And she was in a tree. And all of a sudden, she said the trees, like they started to shift and like morph. And she felt uneasy, like something was moving that she didn't really see, but there was
Yeah.
like this movement in the trees. And her husband actually, I think she caught it on some kind of camera. And he believes that it was some kind of a portal, but also at the same exact time, a football game was going on at the high school, and something like a lightning strike or something happened at the exact same time that she felt the shift in the tree line, like the atmosphere changed, and so there's like a time like distortion, missing hours. They feel like the minutes like they've been gone, or people reappearing miles away from where they were, and they was like they have no memory of traveling there. It's so bizarre. And like this has been going on for a long time. I mean, people have been talking about this for decades. And other people talk about how the altered consciousness, like they become like in a trance state, or they have this euphoria. Some people even have like this feeling of dread. And I have a couple videos that talk about that. So I want to see if I can pull up the one video. I wanted to wait to see if there's more people. I don't understand, because I'll end up after the show, I get all these messages. It's like, why aren't they getting a notified? I just don't like that, because I'll get all these messages after the show and they think that we're live and we're not live. And so I really can't.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, it's weird.
you're on the same time every week. You think sooner or later people would figure that out. But do
Well,
you remember?
yeah.
Do you know who Jennie Randles is? Jennie Randles. She was a ufologist from Britain, maybe famous in the 80s and 90s. But she wrote a book, a lot of books. I read a couple of them, and she coined the phrase "the Oz effect," which is
Oh, yeah, I have that in here. I didn't get to that yet.
yeah,
Wait a
okay,
minute.
which is similar, like something. It's almost like everything stops around you and goes
Yeah,
quiet.
they were saying that some of these people were saying, I just got a message. It was just, they're not getting any notices. Okay. Well, I don't understand why they're not getting a note. I have to see if it's actually, let me just see if it's actually showing up that we are live on my pages. Let me see. Let me go to Pittsburgh. Okay, there's my light. Let me go to see if it's live on Pittsburgh Paranormal. And it's not showing up we're live. Why? This is really making me mad.
I don't know. I have no
Okay,
idea.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. Unless nobody's on tonight. This is crazy, because I'll get all these that's okay. We'll catch them on the record, on the replay. Yeah, the Oz effect. And it's the silence that you're right. It's that it's called the Oz factor. There's like a when a portal opens, there's silence. And
Yeah.
did you ever go outside at night? Like when you don't hear normally at night you hear, the weird sounds of the night.
Yeah.
But when a portal opens, it's not always like some people hear thunder and lightning, but sometimes it's like you said, it's the absence of sound.
Yeah.
The birds stop singing, insects go quiet, and even the air feels heavy. And you know what? I felt that way 2 nights ago. My dog, well, that wasn't 2 nights ago. That was just yesterday. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. At 3:00 in the morning, which we know that's the witching hour. Okay.
Devil's
He
hour.
woke up.
Devil's hour.
I have a puppy. He's 4 months old. He's in his crate next to my bed. And he woke up crying really, 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 really loud. Woke me up like he was frantic. So I took him outside. But when I went outside, it was so weird. It was like that. There was normally you hear like buzzards, like insects at night or those, what do you call those at this time of year? Cicadas. I didn't hear anything and it freaked me out and it freaked him out. So I said, let's hurry up. Let's get back inside. I did not feel comfortable.
If it's dead silent, that means there's a predator or something close.
Yeah, it was dead silent and it was scared because there was no insects. They were completely still. And even the air at that time at 3 a.m. felt heavy. And usually at 3 a.m. at this time of year, it's like that cold feeling. And it was really weird. It was like the world itself was holding its breath. It was so weird. And you're right. The researcher, Jennie Randles, calls it the Oz factor. And it's called a strange hush, as though you're stepping out of the normal into the abnormal, and people report sounds being muted, the atmosphere thick and pressurized, like walking underwater. I didn't know that, but I think my son mentioned it tonight. Like he mentioned it to me. He said, Mom, you definitely have to talk about this because it's a known phenomenon about how it gets silent. And it's the first clue that something is about to shift. Now, in many, what was that?
You know what I think of, like when you were saying going outside, the few times I go outside, let's say late at night or something, or even when I pull back in the driveway from a UFC fight, like even if I have to go out and the fights are over at 1 a.m. I go to the casino, watch them, but if I go out, let's say I got to throw something in the garbage pail, I always think about, can you imagine living in Montana or British
it's for all that space.
Well, no, that there's bears and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
What would you do if you go out to throw a bag of garbage into the can? There's a bear like nestled right there, and you disturb them. Can you imagine the shock of all of a sudden this thing lifts up, coming at you because you? I mean, I don't ever worry about that. Maybe there's a coyote or a fox.
I don't know. But I would hope that this, unless you have I would definitely have some kind of fencing. I wouldn't want to be living out in the,
I think if I was in an area like that, Alaska, where you never know if a bear is like sitting under your porch, I wouldn't go outside unless I had a gun. At least with the handgun, I'd get a few rounds off if he attacked me,
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't think. Well, yeah, I don't think I'd want to be there. That would be creepy.
I don't want to live in those areas. Even where my kids live in Montana and Missouri, they don't have bears and stuff, but they got all kinds of snakes and tarantulas and things like that. Yeah, I mean, your little kids could be playing and they run into a rattlesnake. They don't know what it is,
Well, does your family have? I hope they have a fence. Their yard.
Well, yeah, that's going to stop anything. It's a snake is going to go through even a chain link.
Well, you know what though, John? I've had snakes in my backyard before. Hi, Joni. Yeah, they bother me. I don't like, especially when I was younger, one wrapped around my ankle. I didn't like that at all.
Did it speak to you? Did it speak to you like the devil?
No. Well, they said, the snakes are. Doesn't matter.
I've read different things that it wasn't the snake that tricked them. Wasn't really the devil. It was one of his demons. And in my story that I wrote about Lilith, I actually had the name of the demon that Satan told to go do that. He was
Mm,
a kind of a snake with 4 legs that walked up, and then he was made to crawl on the ground afterwards because God got mad. But there was a name to that. That demon actually had a name. I can't remember what it was.
I don't know. I don't know.
We
We
credit a
can.
lot to Satan, but there's a lot of things sometimes I read and it says that Satan is still in heaven. Like he's there with God and people report to him, his minions, and then he takes it to God. It's very judicial where he can bring his grievances forward and say, look, John Ventre did this. This one blasphemed. I have a right now to go after them. And God will allow that to an extent. Satan doesn't realize he's just doing God's work to scare you straight.
Probably. Maybe these portals is some kind of dimension to hell,
Well, I
I
think
don't know.
some of them have to be,
Yeah.
because I feel the devil is very active. His people, his demons. I think they yeah, I don't know how many there are. There's 8 billion people on the planet. So, even if there's only 1,000 of them, let's say,
Hmm.
they bounce around. But I know when something's in my house. The dog knows, I know.
Yeah.
And then I
Could
hear
be
things.
a portal may have opened up. And David Paulides, he says most of these portals are connected to the national parks. Now, why
Yeah.
would that be? Probably because there's just so much wilderness areas that we haven't.
Well, they were always connected to if there's any sort of streams underground water for some reason as a conduit
Mhm.
for that type of stuff. And then again, like I told you, I was looking into this hollow earth theory, and mountains, caves, uh,
Mhm.
and they say that there is an opening at every sacred site around the world, and there's an underground tunnel system, and there's an opening somewhere near every sacred site.
Yeah. And there's some it depends. Like there's like spontaneous portals like in the wilderness zones. And they said that there's a lot of fog, like there'll be like a sudden
Yeah.
mist that comes up from nowhere. Now, if I'm out in the wilderness and all of a sudden I see fog, I'm getting the hell out of there. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to be. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be out in the woods or something when there's fog. You lose
Yeah,
your.
and the mist, and it's like they said all of a sudden the weather might be really nice, and all of a sudden it becomes foggy or misty. Then you know that something's going on in the atmosphere. It may have to do with a portal. But
And I bet
where
if you
is
had
this?
a compass and it gets
Yeah,
foggy, I bet you the compass readings now are off too. That would really be
yeah.
scary.
Well, when this silence happens, you know how the silence and the suppression, dogs lose their scent. They
Yeah.
can't smell. They lose the scent trail. That everything goes. They can't smell it anymore. Sounds behave oddly. They can't figure out where they're going. Like these lost, what do you call them? Search and rescue teams. They can't do their job. So something has like why would they stop their scent or they can't smell anymore? And it has to be the portals.
Yeah.
And they don't have any proof, but that's interesting stuff. But John, portals show up in ancient myths. They're like gateways to other realms. And do you think these are symbolic to stories that could probably be described as a real phenomenon? Do you think these portals and stories could be real? I know like a gateway up to a different realm.
Yeah. I do. I believe that because it's like every culture has these similar stories, and we were always told we didn't make contact on different continents. Like
Mhm.
the Europeans, the Africans never came to North America. There was no contact back and forth. But yet, Central America and Egypt all have similar pyramids, Book of the Dead, hieroglyphics, some mummification. I mean, at the same time period. So there
Mhm.
was contact.
Okay, going back to your research in the UFO, when you did research for the MUFON and everything,
Yeah.
the Oz factor. Okay, did you have anything like that in your research that you never came across before? Maybe a UFO sighting or a paranormal encounter that might be related to that Oz factor that we were
Yeah, well, I
talking
think
about?
a lot of the people have said that things got very quiet, or it just it became strange. Like there's no sound. It got fuzzy.
Mhm.
When I went to my first UFO conference, the 1999 MUFON Symposium in D.C., Northern Virginia, and when I got home, I mentioned I had some out of body experiences and lucid dreams. But I
Mhm.
remember the lucid dream, it was that Oz effect. It was totally quiet. This hybrid kid is poking my dog in the ribs. The dog's feet are out this way horizontally. And I remember looking around, and it was just a fuzzy cream color. There's like no walls, no doorways, no seams, no nothing. It
Hmm.
was just like this beige color all around. And this kid poking my dog and me screaming at him, "Stop poking the dog!" Like he'd never seen a dog. It was like a new toy to him. And then this other kid standing over there, but that was kind of like the Oz effect. But I believe I was dreaming. It was a lucid dream. But
Mhm.
who? I don't know. I might have been in another dimension at that point in their world.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, there's just so many different stories, and how the portals can be like a serious contender to like a missing 411 case. You know what I mean? Like, how do we know exactly what happened to these people? Could have been a portal. The people disappear. Could your dog disappear? Or people get lost in the wilderness. Did they just go into a portal and disappear? Or Bigfoot? A lot of people think
Yeah.
that Bigfoot goes in and out of these portals and they
Well,
open and
let me
close.
tell you something else. I asked my brother maybe 2 years ago. I said to him, "Guy, do you remember when we were small? Like we would always play army and play fight and stuff like that behind the bed, like we're fighting military." And I said to him, "Do you remember when we were really young, maybe living in Astoria?" And I remember us playing, and we were able to go through the wall. And again, it was that beige, it was a weird wall, like that same beige color. And him and I were able to just walk right through the wall, and
Well,
he
you were
says,
kids.
"Yeah, I was maybe 7, 6, 7."
And you think you think you were just a kid, you were make believing, or do you really think it was?
My memory is that him and I would do in our play fight, like in the bedroom, we'd be behind the bed, the pillows, we'd be boom, jumping around stuff that this army, playing army and stuff. But and I remembered at times that we would be playing together and be able to just pass through the wall. And he says
Hmm.
he doesn't remember that. He goes, "I don't ever remember it." I said, "Yeah, I clearly remember it. And I'm
So
pretty sure
why do you okay, so he has a completely different memory than you
he
have.
doesn't remember it." Yeah, he doesn't. And I remember it, and I remember him being there, and we would walk and be able to go right through the wall to the other side. And I believe it was in Astoria. That would have been around 1964, 65 when we lived there.
So you think that your wall was a portal?
Well, I don't know, whether it was a portal or, people that have this UFO stuff, even demonic stuff, you're kind of marked. Once they mark you, you're marked for life. Once they identify you, and they say it even goes through generations of families and stuff. So, who knows at what age did they pick me out, and then it wasn't until I was 50 that I actually saw the damn thing down the hallway. And I was getting ready to jump over the footboard and attack it. And, so who knows? I don't know when they decided they were going to mess with me.
Maybe that's the reason why you're into this kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
found
know.
me. It found me. I didn't find UFOs. UFOs found me.
Yeah, could
I had no
be.
interest. I was 41 when I discovered UFOs and started
Oh,
joining
that's
UFOs.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had no interest, zero
Well,
in UFOs.
well, decided that you were one of the chosen few. But like places like Skinwalker Ranch or Mount Shasta, they're said to be the thin spot where reality is porous. Did you ever
Yeah,
hear that?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so from your perspective, John, are these places natural portals or are they being manipulated by someone else like CERN?
Both, both. And
You think?
I do think that CERN, it's
Oh
like anything
yeah.
the government does. never believe, well, we're trying to see if we can create antimatter, which to me is crazy, because antimatter and matter, you get a equal and opposite reaction with those two. They are trying to find a way into another dimension. That's what CERN is doing. It ain't there to find and then they call it the God particle. I would call it the devil particle before.
Yeah,
I call
especially
it
when
God.
they did all those weird rituals before they opened it. That
Yeah,
was
at
pretty
the
bizarre.
Gothard Tunnel that time, doing Baphomet and all those creatures. And then the well, get this, CERN, where CERN was built, that was Rome had statues there and stuff to Apollyon, which was their kind of name for the underworld and Hades and the devil and all of that. And then they put right outside CERN in the outside the doors is a big Shiva statue with
I know.
arms. What the hell? Why would you have any of that stuff? And why do these Europeans? Because I know that they're big into secret societies and secret, all of that stuff that goes right back to Aleister Crowley and the devil. And this stuff goes all the way back to the beginning of time and their language, and how the fallen angels taught us witchcraft and pharmacy and drugs and making weapons and all of that. And I'm telling you, it is real. This like
it is real.
The key, King Solomon's key, whatever it was, and the stuff that Aleister Crowley and these groups do, it's real. And they have their symbols and they have their language, and they don't tell you what it means, but you are doing and saying things that mean something.
Do you think these portals are a threat? Are they taking people against their will?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of times either they could come through and take you. Well, can you imagine just being like, let's say, we live we're not in a real wilderness area, but like I watch these shows on a travel channel, and the two kids go out in the woods because you're on 100 acres or whatever. Next house is 50 acres away. So you're running in the woods and you got a little hunting rifle and stuff. You could accidentally walk through one of these portals and then you're lost. You can't get back. You don't know how to get back. And I think that happens to people.
Yeah, I think too. I have a couple. Let me see if I can pull up the video about the portals. Let me make sure I got this. Okay, that's not it. I have something else. I have. I usually put them on the recording in the file, but I didn't do it this. I think I have one, and that's about some. That's what we're going to talk about in a little bit once we get done with the portals. But let me see if I can figure out where I do this at, Liz. Okay, is this the portal? Yeah, I'm gonna listen to this guy. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about. So let me go ahead and share. Let me where's the share? Maybe they change things up around here. Okay, share screen, Facebook. Okay, we want to go to my. Okay, where is it?
My dog's over here. He wants to play with his toy. He keeps bringing it to me.
Well, yeah. He wants to play. You play with them. Okay.
I like.
Can you see that?
Yeah, good.
Let me turn it on. Hope my volume is up. Oh, and my volume is off. Wait.
It's the 6-6 portal.
I'll rewind it. Wait a minute.
It always sounds better when they have a British accent,
Does it?
If you've been feeling weird this weekend, it's not in your head. It's the 6-6 portal.
That was last
and something big is shifting. Here are 5 symptoms that you may have been experiencing this weekend. Number 1, you woke up emotional or feeling just generally heavy. It's not burnout. It is energetic compression before your expansion. You are finally syncing with frequency of receiving. Number 2, you've had waves of complete clarity, followed by total weirdness. It's not confusion, it's quantum timing. This portal is giving you glimpses and waiting for you to choose. Number 3, your body feels lazy, tired, overstimulated, or even sensitive. That is not just the portal. It's your nervous system releasing resistance. Number 4, your desires are louder than ever, and your tolerance for anything misaligned gone.
So it can't
This
be
is
all bad, the
identity
portals,
shedding.
according to him.
You are finally stepping out of the version of you that just settled. And number 5, you feel like you're being pulled inward by something huge is building inside of you. It's not fear, it's power. And it's
So
about to
according
land.
to him, these portals aren't all bad.
Some people feel that way after they have a hangover.
Oh,
When they
geez.
sober up, they feel, wow, I can feel energized now. And I don't
I
know.
have
You know,
another one.
he wasn't specific enough. You know, he's just
Yeah,
saying things about feelings, you know. I don't know.
well, hi, Foxy Joe. I like that name. I love it. Foxy Joe. Okay. There was another one I have. And this one, she goes into more like symptoms. This woman, she goes, I don't know why hold on, I gotta pull it up from StreamYards. Where we go. Nobody knows. Okay, stop sharing, and then I gotta share again. They should have like a class on StreamYards. Okay. She's talking about
29th is a massive breakthrough portal.
Did you
The
find anything
portal on
happen to you on
September
that day?
29th is going to activate light workers on a whole new level. There's a collective up level for humanity that's been prepared and is ready to be launched. Everyone is taking their leadership positions as we embark on this journey together. This will take place based on partnerships, which are genuine, sacred, high-frequency collaborations to withstand the number of collapses about to hit the people. Broken systems are prepped and ready to dissolve between now and the end of the year. This is what we have been waiting for, but it's also why we've been getting hit so hard.
I think this is going back to also what we're going to be talking about, that atlas. I have that information too. I think it's all going back to this. I don't know.
From all the behind the scenes attacks, these multidimensional attacks, physical, mental, spiritual, our relationships. We've been hit from these invisible places behind the scenes, trying to keep us quiet, trying to keep us paralyzed. If you can relate to this, write 929 in the comments. Light workers have been a skeleton crew paving the way for the higher frequency of reality to come in. This higher frequency offers a better human experience.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there because these light workers are all going in this direction about what's supposed to happen on, I think it's October 15th. But let me
explain what a light worker is. What is
a
that?
light worker? There's these light workers, these people who actually think they can talk to
like mediums,
Paulides, UFOs, the mothership. I'll show you what a light worker is. Wait a minute. Okay. Let me see. Light worker. Light worker. Where are you going there? Don't do that. Light worker. There's a woman that was on here. Who was on the show. Rebecca. I'll show you what.
Hardcastle.
Is that her? You know what I'm talking about?
Rebecca Hardcastle. She's got blonde.
Yeah.
She's probably in her 70s now.
No, this is somebody else. Mothership. I'll just put mothership because these people, these light workers, think they're talking to the mothership.
But what was September 29th? What was supposed to happen?
That was supposed to be a portal that was supposed to open up to let way for the mothership.
Well, on September 29th, I was on the hop on, hop off in Vancouver, Canada. That's where I was this past weekend. So nothing happened. You know, it rained in the morning.
No, nothing happened. But it goes back to we're going to talk about that. Let me just get rid of this right now. Okay, so we're going to move on to the portal. Oh, not to the. Okay, we're going to move on to this. And it's the 31 Atlas. NASA, ESA, SETI, the community. They're all getting prepared for this, and some don't think there's any evidence other than it's a comet. But there's a lot of people that believe it does not look like a comet. Comet doesn't have a tail. Okay. They think it's a chunk of ice and dust. But as it approaches Earth, okay, it's coming. Now it's 170 million miles from Earth right now, well outside Mars orbit. Okay. But NASA says there's ice, there's dust, and it has a tail, but it doesn't. It doesn't have anything like that.
Well, when it gets close to the sun, that's when I think the tail starts to form. There's a point. I don't think when it's in deep space, why would it even have a tail?
I don't know. They said that get a telescope because you're going to be able to see it. Now I have it. Let me see. I have it right here.
Is Stephen Greer charging any money for him to tell you what the truth is? Because he's in it for the money.
I know.
Why do you think it could be artificial or alien technology?
No, that was back in September.
Well, the brightness, thanks for having me, by the way.
No,
the
he has a
brightness,
new one.
Of the
I'm going to
object
play.
implies a diameter of 20 kilometers, and there is not enough rocky material in interstellar space to deliver such a giant object per decade. It takes 10,000 years for that much mass to arrive to the inner part of the solar system. Moreover, the trajectory of this object is very fine-tuned. It lies in the plane of the orbits of the planets around the sun to within 5 degrees. The chance for that
Now
to
the
happen
light
is 1 in
workers think that
500.
this is the
And
mothership.
moreover, it passes very close to Jupiter, Mars, and Venus, with a chance of 1 per 20,000 if you just change the arrival time randomly. And it will arrive closest to the sun when the Earth would be on the opposite side. We won't be able to observe it, but that's the perfect time for it to maneuver. And so we just need to watch it. I'm not saying it's an alien technology. I'm just saying it doesn't look like a very common thing. And actually the glow that is around this object, usually for comets, you see a trailing tail behind the object. And here, the glow from the Hubble Space Telescope image is actually in front of the object. We've never seen such a thing.
Yeah.
A comet doesn't have glow in front of it.
But can you tell me why your position on this is so different from NASA's? And why in your paper about it, you kind of talk about this as a thought experiment, a pedagogical kind of exercise. You're casting doubt, and then NASA is saying it's not true. So why keep talking about it this way?
Well, science is about asking any question that you like. It's not there is no censorship on the type of question that is being asked, and the scientific method is about using data to select the correct answer. Now, assuming in advance that you know the answer is not a productive approach. We need to collect enough data, and there should be a scale that classifies objects between 0, where it's obvious that they are natural, when there is a cometary tail behind them, they don't have a special orbit, there is nothing unusual about them, and a 10, when it's definitely an artificial object where it maneuvers, there are some artificial lights, and we should look carefully at any interstellar object that comes into the solar system. We're in a new era now that the Rubin Observatory in Chile will find a new interstellar object every few months. And I'm suggesting to leave all possibilities on the table.
So the tail is in the front. So that doesn't make any sense, John.
No, but I think I have seen videos and stuff when you've got something moving at a really fast speed, but maybe you would have to be in like Earth's atmosphere. Like, doesn't it have like repercussions in front of it also? But if it's out in space, it's really not, there's no resistance. It's not hitting anything. So I don't know.
I don't
Unless
know. There he
reflecting
did another
light.
one yesterday. I don't know. He didn't, because he did one yesterday that was.
Yeah. But these guys like him and Lou Elizondo, they're government shills. They've been told to do this stuff and then write books and make a couple of $1 million. I mean, I don't believe any of the government people. Anybody who's
Is he from the government?
well, I'm sure they went and found him and said, "Look, this is what we want you to do. We're going to pay you on the side. You'll write a book. You'll make a lot of money." Lou Elizondo also. I don't believe for 1 minute he left the CIA. He's still reporting to them and he's collecting a paycheck. And he writes a book.
Yeah, he just did one was it 4 hours ago? Let me see if this was
I don't trust any of these people associated with the government. Never trust anybody with the government.
right. Where'd it go? I'm gonna turn this one off. Okay, where'd it go? This is not that easy. Wait a minute. I gotta get
It worked
into
good last
October, scientists are warning.
Came in the same plane as the planets around the sun that
So-
was deployed by NASA.
Swan R2, officially known as C20 to 25 R2, wasn't spotted until a sudden outburst lit it up in September, shocking astronomers who thought the skies were
So
under control.
something's gonna
Now,
hit-
as it speeds past Mars and heads deeper into
it's gonna
October,
hit the
scientists
Atlas.
are warning that it could pose a serious risk for 3I Atlas. Could two cosmic wildcards really arrive at once? And if Swan R2 is just the opening act, what terrifying surprises are still hiding in the data? How it escaped detection. With all the technology
NASA didn't
aimed at the
see it for
skies,
just
you'd think
recently.
every comet would be spotted months, even years, before it makes a
that one,
close
John.
pass by Earth. That's what makes Swan R2 so unusual. It wasn't tracked, it wasn't predicted, and it wasn't sitting in the databases of Pan-STARRS, Atlas, or the other major sky surveys. It forced its way onto the stage only after an eruption made it bright enough to ignore. Here's how it slipped through. Most surveys are designed to look for faint, slowly moving dots against the background stars. They're excellent at spotting near-Earth asteroids because those are small and steady. Comets, though, are trickier. When they're far from the sun, they're just dark chunks of rock and ice, too dim for the systems to catch. Swan R2 was one of those faint wanderers, coasting along without any noticeable activity. Until September, it was effectively invisible to all but the most powerful telescopes. And even then, it wasn't drawing attention. The outburst changed everything. As sunlight heated the surface, gases trapped beneath the crust suddenly vented, blasting dust into space and creating a visible coma. That coma scattered sunlight efficiently, turning Swan R2 into a glowing smear that popped up in surveys and telescopes almost overnight. What had been an anonymous rock on the edge of detectability became the brightest new object in the region of the sky it occupied. The fact that it avoided detection until that moment is more than just a curiosity. It highlights the limits of even the best monitoring system. Automated telescopes scan huge swaths of the sky every night, but they rely on consistency. Objects that stay faint and then flare suddenly can fall right through the cracks. Swan R2 is a perfect example.
It came in the same plane as the
So,
planets around the
I
sun
don't
that was
know. I think that's terrifying.
Well, what are they saying? That these two objects are going to collide?
They're gonna clash.
How big are they?
The other guy that I had on here, there was just a report. He was on News Nation. That one guy from the first guy, he was just on News Nation, and he said that they're huge. The 331 Atlas, they said that it was from a different far away from us, like in another whole galaxy, and it's coming. So this other one, what did he call it? I forget what he said.
Swan something?
Swan. It just popped up. Like, where did it come from? It just popped up. Let me put this one on yesterday. And he's saying, what's that one Vargas lady? You know who I'm talking, Elizabeth Vargas. Let me put her name down here because I can find it better. And hardly nobody's talking about this. And
No,
I knew about.
I've seen this.
You did?
Some of these stories I don't read, but okay. So here's the question: Deep Impact or Armageddon? Which movie do you like better? Deep Impact or Armageddon? Which one do you like better?
They're both very ominous. I mean, come on. I mean,
I like Deep Impact better than Armageddon.
well, I don't want that to happen. But
I
here's
just
this
thought
one.
that scene with her and her father on the beach. I just thought that was like such a, you're standing there looking at 1,000-foot tidal wave, and it's over.
Yeah, well,
On us for purposes either benign or malevolent. It's not the first time astrophysicist Avi Loeb has suggested the object has alien origins. He came on this show to say so a while back, even saying the object could be on a mission to release, quote, mini probes that could invade Earth. And Avi Loeb joins us now. He's the head of the Galileo Project, director of Harvard University's Institute for Theory and Computation, also the best-selling author of the book Extraterrestrial. Okay, why are we just now figuring out this thing is as big as it is? Why were we wrong in the estimates of its size?
Thanks for having me. Well, we know that the object is losing mass because we see a cloud of gas around it that is a result of its warming up as it gets close to the sun. But it doesn't change its path. There is no push that is visible on the trajectory of the object, and that means that it's very massive, at least 1,000 times more massive than the previous one, which was a comet Borisov discovered in 2019. Not only that it's so massive, much more than the previous one, but there is also not enough rocky material in interstellar space to deliver such a giant rock into the inner solar system over the past decade.
Well, explain that, Avi. So what do you mean there's not enough rock? What do you mean? Does this mean this is even further a reason for you to think this isn't a natural object?
Well, yes, because there is limited reservoir of rocky material per unit volume in interstellar space. And even if you package all of it in objects of this size or bigger, then there is just not enough number of objects to deliver them at random once per decade to the inner solar system. So that's another issue. And the trajectory of this object is aligned with the planets around the sun, the plane of the planets. And on the one hand, that's extremely rare, 1 in 500 chance, but on the other hand, it offers us an opportunity to observe it. And indeed, by the end of this week, it will come within 29 million kilometers from Mars. And there are several orbiters there that were deposited there by NASA, by the European Space Agency, by the Chinese Space Agency. And we will get much more information about it. In particular, we can get an image with a 30-kilometer pixel size. So we can then look at the brightest pixel and infer how big is the object.
So if you think the chances are getting slimmer and slimmer on us for purposes either benign or malevolent, it's not the first time astrophysicist Avi Loeb has suggested the object has alien origins. He came on this show to say so a while back, even saying the object could be on a mission to release, quote, mini probes.
So I don't know, Sean. That doesn't sound very good.
Yeah, but what does he mean there's not enough mass to get a large comet or asteroid?
Well, he's saying it doesn't look like a comet.
You've got the Oort cloud that was supposedly a planet that broke apart. That's what I always heard. There's 2 of these cloud systems around our solar system that we live in, and like that Oort, O-O-R-T, Oort's cloud system, they claim a planet like somehow broke apart, and there's so many huge pieces just floating around.
But this is huge. I mean, this is a big, they said you can go get your telescope and see it now. That's how close it is. So it's just, what are you going to do when you walk out your house on a Sunday morning with your coffee and your newspaper and you look up at the sky and it's a huge mothership?
I'm going to say, where'd you come from?
Well, why weren't you here when I was with MUFON? You could be
yeah. When I was with MUFONI, you didn't show up. When I'm with MUFONI.
Oh, you said that, not me.
Yeah, watch the sky. Watch the sky for lights. Yeah. Well, they take all the good cases and don't tell you about them.
Well, they do.
They do. They don't give them to you. They tell you, you go research the lights in the sky that don't mean anything to anybody. Oh, well.
I don't know. who knows what's going on out there. It's a little scary. I mean, no matter how you look at it, I mean, everything right now is crazy. I mean, okay, getting back to what we were talking about last week with the
Along with all the people.
yeah, we're all nuts.
People are
The-
crazy.
I've gone down since we were coming down to the wire. I've gotten far. I've never been this deep into the rabbit hole that I am now. That with Charlie Kirk. I have gone down that rabbit hole with Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly and Michael Savage and Tucker Carlson.
I don't read any of it, so tell me what they're saying, because I don't follow. I refuse to get into the conspiracies.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it is a conspiracy because
If you're believing it, it is a conspiracy. But what
I've been watching the videos.
What are they saying though?
Candace Owens, she thinks that so many different people are saying different things. Some people think that Israel did it because he lost his friendship. His friendship with him went down the tubes. Bibi, can't pronounce his last name, put out a letter that he was supposed to be that Charlie Kirk wrote. And he was saying how he was such a good friend. As soon as he died, he went out and told everybody. But there's so many, like Candace Owens said, that's not true. At first he loved Israel. He loved, what was going on, but then his views changed and he totally, he just totally changed.
What, a week or two after he did a podcast about Israel criticizing them, this happens,
Yeah. And things about the crime scene, like why did they take everything down so fast? Why wasn't there any tape? Why did they put cement? They put cement over where he sat. Or why what happened to the camera, the film that was in the camera, the bullet. A lot of people are showing the trajectory of the bullet. They have
from behind.
He was shot from behind. And the neck wound was an exit wound. Some people think his lapel, the microphone on his shirt was actually the detonate. It actually shot him. Some people think that he was doing nose signals, and there was people in the crowd that were doing these little military signals. What else? And then there was the boy who they claimed was the shooter. There's no way he was in. They said he was in a Dairy Queen.
He didn't act alone. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, they said that there might be like 21 people involved in all this. But why would this boy admit to this? There's no way he could have did it. And then they said that he was in a Dairy Queen. There's pictures of him wearing a maroon shirt in a Dairy Queen, and that somebody went to one of the researcher YouTubers went to the Dairy Queen, and it's closed. There's nothing in it. And there was maybe
he went into a portal and he was in a Dairy Queen.
People think it was a hologram. He wasn't even sitting there. Some people he's still alive, and Kash Patel said this at the end of the one when he was talking. He mentioned this lala fala. I don't know whatever word he said at the end. This Indian word or something.
Ali Akbar.
No, but he said this word, and then people did research on it, and it's like a faraway island. It's like, okay, is he trying to say that he's in witness protection on an island somewhere? And then some people think that his wife was involved in it, and she was acting when she was mourning. There's so many conspiracies, and there was a woman with Tyler, I guess around the shooting, and they don't know who. The FBI didn't say. So much crap we have to sift through. Yes, there is. It's crazy.
The only thing, my observation though, I didn't watch the funeral, and they said
it wasn't a funeral. And let me ask you, John, it was a memorial. What memorial for like a funeral or memorial? You shut off fireworks.
I don't know. I didn't watch it, but I'm just saying about his wife. There was something. I don't know how to say it. Almost disingenuous.
Yes.
Like I would have thought she would have been a lot more upset. like I didn't. Maybe she collapsed at the casket. People said that. I didn't watch that part. But in what I did watch, I never saw her like break down crying.
No,
It was always the little
it was
tears
fake.
and wipe. Yeah, it looked
Some
fake
people
to
think
me.
it was
But-
fake, and some people think that it was it was like a performance.
But yeah, that's the way I feel. I feel she put on a performance there. Now, who knows if they had problems in their marriage? Maybe she was more into herself. Maybe she sees a big opportunity now. She's the
Yeah.
big name, bigger than he
Yeah,
ever.
I know. And she was on.
know?
She was on 2 weeks after your husband died, and she's on his podcast, laughing and carrying on.
Yeah, I know it.
It's
That
like
to
if
me,
my
it's-
husband was murdered in front of the whole world, I would be I wouldn't be able to get out of bed.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
right.
just-
She ain't mourning for very long. I could tell you that much.
Yes, it's
There's
crazy.
something- That part, I agree. There's something here doesn't. Either that's her personality, she's cold or very self-centered, but none of this actually looked like she was all that upset.
And she met him in Israel, and her mother has ties to Israel and Romania. Is that? And have you got to listen to
Well, she was
Candace?
Miss Arizona, wasn't she? Miss Arizona.
She was, but I think that she was invited. Like she didn't even try out for it. It was just so the whole thing. And then they said that, but what some of the conspiracies are that he's still alive because he has all these documentations and all these videos of shows and shows that he wanted to do. He was prepared like 400 different shows he was ahead of, and all these campus, I guess his speeches and stuff, whatever he does, that he had all this, that he's still going to do it. It's like crazy stuff. And there was never a funeral though. My ex was that cold, says you believe. You're so funny. You're so bad. My ex was that cold, so I believe she can be that cold too. I'm sorry your ex was cold. No, I don't.
At some point, they're going to get like Fate magazine involved or something, and they'll be from beyond the grave talking to Charlie for advice.
No, I don't know. It's like I was listening to Nancy Grace last night. I was listening. I mean, I watch Candace every day, and I missed her show, so I'll have to rewind it. I'll have to record it. But she said there's a lot of people are fearful for her life because she's going too deep and she's getting enemies, and so is Megyn Kelly. I mean, they have to be careful what they're saying because if it was somebody like Israel that did this, then I'd be worried.
I'm suspicious. There's all this Jew, hating the Jews stuff. Look at my dog. He scratched my freaking arm. Look at that. Can you see it?
Yes.
Don't
do bad. My puppy's got me so bad. What is that noise? Is that what is that noise? You hear it?
They're coming for you. The dog got me. I'm bleeding.
That is, I hear this weird. Do you hear that noise?
It's like a train's coming. Now here you are. You're in a portal right now, and there's
I'm being totally serious. Where's that? They're trying to block me because I'm talking about it.
That you're going to see a train come right through your office there, and the light and the tracks, and it's going to go right past.
That is crazy.
Wow, I don't know what that was. That was you. That wasn't me.
That is so weird. I'm talking about this stuff. Do you hear that?
I think the dog jumped up and cut me there. Look at that.
I believe it. Here it comes again. Okay, stop it. They don't want me to talk. They don't want me to talk.
Time. We have 1 minute left.
Yeah, we're done. That's crazy.
Okay.
Okay, it's gone. But my dog did that to me too. He's so bad. He ripped up my arm so bad. Okay, I won't talk anymore. Okay, well, no, it's crazy. I don't know what that sound is. I don't know where it's coming from. That is spooky shit. But you have to watch what you say on YouTube because they try to get you out of here. But that's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracies, and I'm going down the rabbit hole. And I will be listening to Candace, and I'll be probably listening to Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson and all the guys because I can't.
I'm not listening to any of them. I've moved on.
It's all nefarious stuff. It's all nefarious, and we're
I've
all
moved on.
something-
I'm glad there's all these groups in schools, and the kids have woken up and they got their turning point groups, and that's good.
Yeah.
State of Oklahoma, I think, said every school has to have a turning point. Group.
Well, I think we're in a good direction. I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
causing a revival when people are getting back to church, and I think that's good.
Yeah.
But I don't know, something happened, and I hope we can find out. But I'm not really looking forward to the Atlas coming to hit us, but we'll find out. I do have a good guest coming next week. I have a lot of different guys coming on, but I'm not going to mention it right now because they'll probably cancel, because sometimes they cancel at the last minute and I don't want to get somebody excited. But it was great to have you on again, John. I'm so glad you Joe, Joni, and all y'all people watching.
And if
on the
anybody's
replay.
in the Philadelphia area, the conference is Saturday at the Sheridan Bucks County starting at 9 a.m.
And you're going to be there.
Yes.
That's exciting. Okay, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and make sure you share the link. We'll see you next time on Chasing Prophecy.
Thanks for tuning in to Chasing Prophecy Radio, where nothing is beyond the scope of normal. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube for past episodes, live streams, and more. And if you'd like to be a guest or reach out, email us at chasingprophecyradio@gmail.com. Until next time, keep looking beyond the shadows